How is everyone doing? Okay, great. Let me just start out by saying it is great. I can't see everyone now, but it's been great to see everybody at the conference. So it's just so terrific to be back together again. So thanks to NCRC. I'm going to talk a bit about the U.S. Bank Community Benefits Agreement that CRC and NCRC members negotiated. We feel very proud about it. You can't get much done without collaboration and deep listening. And I got to see another set of folks bring those skills to another major project that concluded a little over a month ago. NCRC supported U.S. Bank's $100 billion Community Benefits Agreement with $60 billion for California. And that's right, $100 billion for the nation. While I speak, if I could encourage folks, including bank leaders from U.S. Bank, folks from California, and others throughout the country who worked on the U.S. Bank CBA, if you would come forward, please, at this point, so that we can take a picture and acknowledge all the great work. Please do so. Thank you. And while people are coming up, I'll say a bit about the agreement. The CBA with U.S. Bank was the biggest such agreement ever. As usual, NCRC acted as a facilitator and a convener to help bank leadership connect with 90 different NCRC members across 23 different states. NCRC also worked closely with the California Reinvestment Coalition, the NCRC member organization where I am the Chief of Legal and Strategy. We held 5 separate listening sessions to bring these folks together, and when it was all said and done, U.S. Bank's leadership made concrete, firm commitments to match the concerns our members raised. U.S. Bank will increase mortgage lending by at least 20% nationwide and 30% in California, specifically to the communities who need it most. They will boost their investments in community development, social impact lending, and affordable housing by 50% in California and 40% nationwide. And they'll open new bank branches in majority-minority California communities, make their ATMs easier to use for more services, and launch multiple special purpose credit programs targeted to our members' priorities. All this was possible because we all got together to talk plainly, to listen to each other, and to identify creative solutions. It was a huge team effort. Again, I want to emphasize 90 different NCRC member organizations helped shape the agreement. And folks, this is the part I want you to hear. So if you're half listening, if you want to listen a little bit more, because this is the part that I really think is important. Someone who couldn't be here today was our executive director, our CEO, Paulina Gonzalez Brito. And one of the things that yes, a little applause for Paulina. One of Paulina's mantras, and maybe I'm nuancing it a bit, but this I think is important for NCRC. When we stick together, when we organize, and when we fight, we win. What does that mean here? We had 66 CRC members and allies who opposed the merger initially. We won, at the time, rare public hearings from the federal regulators. Our members delivered very strong and compelling testimony about what they thought the merger would mean for their communities, and we were able to negotiate a record commitment. And we were able to do so because the bank listened and engaged and tried to address our concerns. We are proud of the Community Benefits Agreement, in particular, because it creates 3 special purpose credit programs. Who's heard of special purpose credit programs? Come on, folks. 3 special purpose credit programs. What does that mean? It means that U.S. Bank is committing to race-conscious products and programs for home ownership, for small business development, and for affordable housing development. And at this time, when the CRA is being reformed, and we have this proposal, we need for the CRA rules and for implementation of CRA to be much more race conscious. We are also pleased that the bank is devoting resources to target outreach in rural communities and Native American communities to meet the broadband and other needs of these areas. And I will say this to be, somewhat, I feel like I can talk to you all. I can be transparent with you. We've received a lot of positive feedback on the community benefits agreement, which is great. But we've also received questions about it, whether it's enough and whether it is real. For example, some folks are asking, is this just another press release? Will communities see the benefit? So we want everyone to know that CRC and NCRC are invested in this CBA, and we are committed to ensuring it gets implemented, and we look forward to working with the bank to make it so. Thank you to all the members who made this agreement possible. That's a big group, and a pretty good-looking one, too. Please give U.S. Bank and our members a round of applause while we take a group photo. Thanks, everybody. Good job. Thank you. Great job, Kevin. Yeah. Oh. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to move forward, and it's a pleasure to say we got incredible collaboration and partnership from the bank side as well. You saw the great team that we had working on the community side, and the bank met us more or less halfway. The U.S. Bank team sitting across from the table from us at those listening sessions were truly open-minded and committed to getting this right. Two of the leaders are here tonight to share more about what this deal means for our communities and for NCRC's members in the many states where U.S. Bancorp has a major presence. First, Reba Dominski is Chief Social Responsibility Officer and President of the U.S. Bancorp Foundation. And I want to personally thank Reba on behalf of CRC and NCRC for very good faith back and forth and for having a sense of humor. And I also saw Erica Opstead up here from U.S. Bank. And so for people who wonder, does anything happen with these CBAs? So we just negotiated it recently, and Erica has already reached out and started the conversations about how to implement. So we feel very good about that. We also have Tim Welsh, U.S. Bancorp's Vice Chair for Consumer and Business Banking. And joining them for this conversation is Juan Leighton, NCRC's Director of Organizing. Thank you. Juan, Reba, and Tim are going to talk you through a bit more about the process. Please welcome them.
Thank you. Good evening. So before we're going to have a little bit of a conversation here. I hope that you all enjoying dinner tonight. How is dinner tonight? Good? All right. Before we have this conversation, I'm going to let Tim read some statement from Tim Cesari, the CEO from U.S. Bank, who couldn't be here today. So, Tim?
Thank you so much, Juan. As you said, Andy really wanted to be here, but couldn't, but wanted to pass along this statement. On behalf of the approximately 70,000 U.S. Bank employees, thank you. The leadership, passion, and commitment of NCRC, CRC, and so many individuals across the country helped inform a robust community benefits plan that, pending closure of the transaction, will have an impact on our communities for generations to come. During this process, I had the honor of being joined by more than 200 community leaders in 6 listening sessions. The passion and dedication showcased by these leaders to their communities is to be applauded. The insights shared helped us learn where we could build on our strengths and make an impact for the underserved. This input is why our plan is intentionally focused on increasing access to capital for those who live and work in lower income communities. A special acknowledgement to Jesse, Paulina, and Kevin, whose leadership and experience was essential in helping us achieve this critical milestone. We look forward to building on this success and working with you as we move forward. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you, Tim. Now we're going to have a little bit of a conversation with Tim and Reba. And one thing that I wanted to say, that the commitment that all of you have with the process have been so important. That's why we are here today, spending this time to the community benefit process. Also, the fact that Andy wasn't here, I want to say that he spent time in 5 meetings, 2 hours just listening to community groups. So I wanted to start with that question. What were the most significant learning lessons from the listening sessions with the community groups?
Yeah, I can start. So, this was a really fascinating process, and everything we do in community, we start with listening. And so immediately after announcing our intended acquisition of MUFG Union Bank, we contacted NCRC and CRC, and we scheduled, all told, 6 community listening sessions, 2 hours each. Our CEO, President and Chair, Andy Cesare, attended every one. Tim Welch and several other senior leaders across the bank attended every one of those listening sessions. We heard from over 208 community leaders, many of whom are in this room. And I think in Andy's remarks, you heard a very consistent theme, which is how profoundly your voices impacted the creation of our community benefits plan. In fact, when we talk about our plan internally at the bank, we say it was all of your voices that helped create the plan, the $100 billion plan that we're here to celebrate tonight. So while we heard different things from different communities, we learned from every conversation. And the other thing that we heard consistently was about the need for equitable access to capital in low to moderate income communities and communities of color. And that's something that you see absolutely throughout our plan. Tim, would you add anything?
Yeah, I think you said it so well, Ray. But first of all, it was incredibly insightful to hear the voices from this group and from so many others. Incredibly insightful. And the other thing I would say, it was inspiring. I mean, the work that you all do and the work that so many other community groups do is making an enormous difference all across the country. And frankly, this was part of the reason we wanted to create this plan, was to support that extraordinary work in so many ways. And it is our privilege to partner with those who were so inspiring.
Great. During the listening sessions, community organization spoke about different issues, needs, and also they gave a lot of constructive ideas in the process. I want to hear from you why it's important to work with community organizations when putting something like this together. Why do you think it's so important?
Yeah, my favorite quote, my team's going to roll their eyes, they've heard it so many times, is a quote from Maya Angelou, and it's, once you know better, then you do better. So to me, the community listening sessions were about knowing better, and the plan that we created was about doing better. And whenever we approach any situation at US Bank, whether it's solving a customer problem or thinking about how we can better serve community, we always start by listening. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure that it was clear that we do not have all the answers, we don't have the solutions. And what I also want to be clear about, and Kevin mentioned it earlier when he said that Erica Obstad on my team has already reached out, we want to co-create the solutions that are part of this $100 billion plan. So that's why it's so important for us to hear from all of you, is because that wasn't just about listening and then turning off the Zoom call and going back to business. It was about listening, thinking about what you shared with us, and then thinking about how can we work together to drive solutions that really work in community, because I think that's what we all want.
I just couldn't underscore that enough, right? I mean, I think what is so important is the level of understanding that you all have and that so many other groups have. We can't do this work unless we're really listening and, as Reba said, creating solutions together. That's what this has to be about. And by the way, also acknowledging that when we create those solutions, we're going to have to learn from the communities themselves once we try them, right? Because we believe that the listening doesn't end when you introduce the first solution. The listening continues so that we can make our solutions better and better over time.
Great. Now, regarding the agreement, the plan, are there areas that you would like to highlight? Kevin mentioned 3 special purpose credit programs. Would you like to talk more about that and your priorities regarding sort of like closing the racial wealth gap and things like that, if you want to talk more about those things?
So, I could talk about the details of this community benefit plan for the rest of the evening, but I don't want to bore you, and you've already heard many of them. I will say again, access to capital, equitable access for low to moderate income borrowers, communities of color is at the heart of every element of the plan. There's a couple things I would highlight. In mortgage, we committed to a 20% increase nationally over the combined baseline of US Bank and Union Bank in mortgage lending units, over a 30% increase in California, all focused on LMI borrowers, LMI communities of color. In small business, a 15% increase nationally, over 25% in California. And I do want to pause on community lending and investment because that is an area that CRC and NCRC both pushed us hard on, and I think we delivered. We have a 40% increase in community development lending and investment nationally. It's over a 50% increase in California alone. So thank you for the applause. 50% in California, 40% nationally. As Kevin mentioned, 60% of the plan impacts California, which is the geography that is the most impacted by our merger. And 3 special purpose credit programs. Now I want to tell you a secret. We have been trying to get special purpose credit programs at US Bank for a while. I've been there 7 years, and I think every year we've had a conversation about special purpose credit programs. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because this plan, this experience, was the catalyst to bring all of the right partners at the bank together and to say, our community partners are asking us for this. We started with a small business special purpose credit program, which Union Bank has one. We committed to evaluating it, expanding it, rolling it out to all of our markets. And then we got another push from CRC. We got another push from NCRC. As Kevin mentioned, there was a lot of back and forth. And we expanded and agreed to a special purpose credit program in mortgage, which includes a significant focus on down payment assistance. And then finally, a special purpose credit program focused on developers of color, minority-led, minority-owned developers who are working on affordable housing. That was the 3rd special purpose credit program. So this plan was a catalyst for a lot of activity, a lot of initiatives, a lot of innovation that honestly, without all of you in this room, would not have probably happened for years at US Bank. So again, I just want to thank you for that.
Big. Look, it's nice. I want to make sure that we recognize that we're applauding for you because you pushed us and you helped us do things differently. And that is a core commitment that we're making in this, is to do things differently. These special purpose credit vehicles are a reflection of that. They're a reflection of what you and what communities said, and we are listening to that and we are trying to act differently. So thank you for that push. The other thing that I would just pick up on that Kevin highlighted is this is real from our perspective, right? We want to get out there, as already been indicated by initial work, and we're going to make this happen together because it is our hope that years from now we look back and we have made a generational difference in the lives of these communities, really in a profound way. And we look forward to partnering with you to truly make these ideas a big reality in California and all across the country.
And I do want to put in a plug, I forgot, for special purpose credit programs. There is a panel tomorrow that Brad Blauer is leading. Erica Opstead from my team is on that panel. I think it's at 9:45, and we will be digging deep into those special purpose credit programs. So I encourage you to attend the panel and learn a little bit more.
Great. So remember, special purpose credit programs, kudos to CRC, California, and others who are pushing for that. This is a unprecedented agreement with special purpose credit programs, so let's continue with other banks in the future. But now we have the plan. Tell us about the next steps. What is next?
Yeah. So I think Kevin heard us, and I know Jesse and Paulina did too, when we finally got to agreement. And for those of you who have worked on these plans from any angle, this is hard work. It is real work. And so when we got to the agreement, I got the phone call, and I think, Kevin, you had sent an email, and I think I printed out the email and framed it when Kevin said, I think this is a good plan. I was like, yes, I think we're getting there. We were so happy, and we celebrated, and then I called Erica on my team, who has been a driving force behind this plan, and I said to her, now the real work begins. And that's how we feel. Getting the plan across the finish line took a lot of effort. It's fantastic that we got there, but now the real work happens. So a couple of areas that we're focused on. The first area is resources. We have to make sure that we have